want to know the weirdest thing I've ever said yesterday? Which I've kind of alluded to before on the show, but I was having bad panic attacks for a while. I kind of calmed down a little bit. But I said this to my wife yesterday, who's a therapist, so all the things that you say to her, she has to take into consideration and not go, no, stupid. She has to go, well, that's a possibility. I kept having like a flashback yesterday of something that didn't have I'd never happened to me, and I looked at Amanda and I go, maybe, reincarnation is real. And she goes, why? I go, because I keep having flashbacks of something that I didn't ever experience in the first place. I keep seeing visions of something, like flashes before my eyes of an event or something that didn't happen, like cutting down trees. And I'm like, I don't think I ever cut down a tree in my life. And she was like, okay, that could be. And I would know she was like, please let me out of the car, you lunatic.
No,
but
dude.
it's just, that's how I felt for a second, like weird flashes.
But remember I saying that thing where it's not deja vu, but it's essentially you're looking into the future.
Yeah, that sounds weirder than what I said.
Yeah, but I mean, all this quantum
my future
stuff,
is in lumberjacking?
Well, I mean, maybe if something pops off and all of a sudden we're dependent on cutting down trees in 10 years.
We needed to get people kicked out of their house. We're using log like Joe Don Baker. And
I had a vision I was eating a salad.
I don't think that's a future or a past.
Sounds like a nightmare for you.
Oh, my God. But they got all these guys that worked for CERN that now have, dispersed and are working in the private sectors, and they still will write papers and blog. And all of them are the stuff that we don't know about what they've discovered of the quantum realm in the last 5 years. They're all like, it would blow your mind and people won't believe what we can do.
Well, what you're talking about with the monks vibrating and doing that stuff, that's what the Flash did in the movie. That's how he got through the walls.
And it's crazy to hear physicists be like, oh, no, not only is that possible, but with the right amount of focus and right stimuli, you can time travel, you can go different places.
Well, what they say is that Gene Roddenberry from Star Trek that wrote all the Star Trek episodes, they said a lot of the technology that we have today were them just building stuff that they saw in Star Trek because it was all possible to do.
There's that story about the CIA contacting the James Bond people to find out what his underwater breathing apparatus was, and they're like, it's a movie. We don't have it. Carmen, it was like the size of a marker, and he put it in his mouth, and he would breathe underwater. But it was a movie, and they were like, oh, okay.
How do they not have that by now? How do they not have a machine that could that fits in your mouth that could automatically take the oxygen out of water?
I'm sure we do.
Here's the thing: is the other day, if people saw the video of me helping Spanish with his tire, they have those things that just look like a drill that fill up a tire in 2 minutes. It just how
Put
is
that in your mouth and go jump in my pool.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't even know how that's getting air in there or how it's doing anything. I have no idea.
I'm telling you, what blew my mind was during Christmas, the NASA did a whole press conference about their technology because the big question was, why can't we go back to the moon? We went back to the moon in the 60s.
Right.
And the guy's response, he kind of talked around it and he said, well, the truth is we have technology that's 300 years from what you will see. So we do have the technology. It's just some bureaucracy and other things that are keeping them from going back.
My question is, why hasn't Elon Musk done it? Why isn't the private sector, now that they're allowed to do that,
That's a very good question.
Because Elon can be like, I'm going to go up just because they won't go up.
It's a good question.
Yeah, I don't get that, and it makes me. I believe the lunar landing happened, but the more that we don't go. I remember George Bush, the second one, kept saying we're going to go back to the moon. That's our next priority. And I was like, why? What are we doing up on the moon? But maybe we have gone.
Yeah, that's
the
thing. Maybe we probably Elon Musk one time in a press conference, a couple of times they say it's like a slip up or whatever, but more than once he was like, oh yeah, when we go back to Mars, and you're like, what do you mean go back? The whole thing was trying to get there and cryo sleep because we can't get there. Like, what?
They're sending SpaceX up every other week.
Yeah.
Nobody's tracking this stuff. We don't know what they're doing.
But
up
we know
there.
what Taylor Swift's
I was
plane
going
is.
to say, get that kid. He'll find out.
We don't know what's going on.
And then the WikiLeaks stuff, they say that the NASA has full documentation along with the CIA where they destroyed a lunar base before we even went up there the first time.
Yeah, and then we were saying that an alien base, but I think that if we're destroying a base, it's probably not so much like people living up there. It's like a community. I think it's more they're building some sort of space weapon.
Oh, yeah.
Another country doing that.
Or military installment.
I mean,
Yeah,
China is the
Yeah.
only one who had the technology to get up there.
yeah. Russia definitely didn't.
No.
Hey, my favorite Russian cosmonaut story is the one of the woman they sent up without any way to get her back,
No.
and they didn't tell her. They were just like,
What?
yeah. They were
Just
just
sent
like,
her to her death?
100%. They were like, all right, you made it into space. You're in orbit. And she's like, all right, let me get back. And they're like, nah, we don't have that yet. See you
back.
later.
I knew we forgot something.
Yeah.
Oh, that family has a major loss.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
good
no,
luck
they said it
suing
was
the
an
Russian
accident.
government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big deal because it was like Italian radio guys who like were just some random civilians had this radio tech and they intercepted this conversation and they were like, there's no way they're just sending her up to die.
It's amazing how easy it is for citizens to communicate with people in space.
Yeah.
Like I was watching a video the other day where the guy was on a shortwave radio and the space station was in his vicinity and he was trying to send signals and the space station picked it up and responded back.
Isn't that
to him.
crazy?
Yeah, that is pretty. I mean, clear as day too.
Yeah.
He was like, "Hey, G4792, this is the space station, whatever, and we are getting it loud and clear and coming to you live from outer space." I mean, that's the craziest
Isn't that
thing.
nuts?
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's where all the conspiracy theorists
Oh,
will come in and be like, it's because they're not really in space, man. That's why you can talk
Exactly.
to them. Yeah.
Except you
We've
can look
never
up
been.
and
Oh.
see it with your bare eye as it's
Can
floating over.
you?
Yeah. You
The-
can see the space station when it goes over it'll tell us exactly where it is and you can look up and see it.
The
Can you?
only thing that bothers me about like the space stuff that we see, like I just mean photos and videos from space that you'll see on the internet,
Yeah.
is they've already come out and said that like 100% of that is CGI. So it's some form of CGI, whether it's they're taking something out or
Yeah, but
recoloring.
That's the thing. They'll tell you that the pictures that they're getting are black and white pictures, and then the AI is coloring it in, so it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Maybe not accurate,
Right.
But that is what that's what the physicality of it is.
But that's like
Prove
that
it.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the little thing that
Carmen,
people
prove it.
roll
I like
with.
to send you into space to prove it,
If
Don't
we're
get mad at me.
and not have a way to bring you back.
They're lying to us.
if we're just now getting AI on our dumb phones,
Yeah.
but
Oh, dude,
they've
yeah.
had the technology for decades
Yeah,
to be able to come up with fake pictures.
The Aladdin AI that works for BlackRock is the one that they say is like it's out of control and they don't know
Yeah.
how to control it, which is why they're just like, oh yeah, no, we want to buy up all the real estate around the world. For what reason? Oh, I don't know, just because.
Eh,
But by the time it trickles down to dummies' phones, it's
Yeah.
not gonna,
I feel like all AI should go back to one machine that you can just walk over and unplug.
I
Once
wish,
you
dude.
unplug it,
I
you're like,
really
oh,
wish.
I unplugged